As the 2024 NFL season unfolds, Will Levis finds himself under an unrelenting spotlight, grappling with the weight of expectations that come with being a highly drafted quarterback. And I mean, with a new disappointing performance on the field pretty much each week, Levis has become a focal point of scrutiny, standing alongside Bryce Young as one of the least effective quarterbacks from the 2023 draft class. Critics are pointing to his poor decision-making and inability to execute smart plays, leading to frustration among his teammates, Titan fans, and even his coaching staff. With every game that passes, whispers of potential replacements grow louder, suggesting that if Levis can't turn things around, he might find himself on the bench or hell, even out of the team within the next year or two. So today, as we delve into his challenges, we'll explore the implications of his struggles on the franchise and what the future might hold for this once promising talent. Are you looking for a new book this football season? BetUS is the answer. They have the fastest and easiest payouts in the industry, along with 24/7 personalized service 365 days a year. Not only that, but they have live wagering on all major games, so if you see something mid-game and want to make a wager on it, you can. And the best part is you get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. And now look, you guys knew I had to come through with you guys for a promo code, so make sure that you guys are using code YouTube150 for a nice 150% deposit bonus on up to $2,000. That's right, we were doing 125%, but we said screw that, we're giving you guys 150% instead. Again, that is promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus on up to $2,000. Again, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video, but for now, let's hop back into it. But before we jump into his just most recent failures of the 2024 season, we really have to go back all the way to the 2023 season where these problems began. As the 33rd overall pick in the 2023 draft, the second rounder wasn't necessarily expected to immediately take over the league. The former Kentucky quarterback had thrown for 43 touchdowns and just 23 interceptions in his 2 years with the Wildcats, which, I mean, aren't great numbers, but they are solid numbers. He was joining a Titans team with Ryan Tannehill as a starting quarterback, whom he would sit behind and learn from during his rookie season. The Titans were also returning running back Derrick Henry and had a veteran wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, honestly, his situation looked pretty good among the rookie quarterbacks that were drafted in 2023. I mean, look at Bryce Young and what he had to step into. It was just pretty much pure chaos, and he had no weapons. At least Levis had some guys he could rely on in Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins. But after an ankle injury suffered by Tannehill almost halfway through the season, Levis had to step in and take over. In his first NFL start, Levis looked like an absolute stud. The second round pick threw 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, and honestly, everybody, including the Titans, thought they had found their next franchise guy. The next 3 weeks, Levis and the Titans went 0-3, and Will had a touchdown interception ratio of 2-2 in those games. Those first 4 weeks for him sort of set the tone for the rest of the year, which ended up being his rookie season filled with huge inconsistencies. Despite showing some serious flashes of potential, he struggled with decision-making, often forcing passes into tight coverage and failing to read defenses effectively. His accuracy was inconsistent, leading to high interception rates and stalled drives. And after throwing for 4 touchdowns and sealing a dominant victory in his Titans debut, Levis only threw 4 touchdowns combined in the following 8 games and only won twice. Levis faced challenges in developing chemistry with his receivers, contributing to a lack of offensive rhythm. And as the season progressed, a lot of questions came up about how good really Will Levis was, along with the frustrations of just his coaches and teammates were having with him after seeing such a great start in his first game. Overall, though, I think that we can all agree that Will Levis's rookie season was just a very steep learning curve and definitely highlighted some areas that had some significant improvement or at least needed to be worked on in the offseason. And I mean, while he didn't lead the Titans to a winning record, much less the playoffs, he still showed enough potential to the team to convince them to make him the starter. So going into the 2024 season that we're in now, Will Levis looked like he would have a great supporting cast, and fans were excited to see what the second-year player could do. The Titans hired a new head coach in Brian Callahan, a new offensive coordinator, and a new defensive coordinator, and were expected to completely turn this team around. There were certainly still some fans who were looking to find a replacement for Levis this offseason, thinking the young quarterback still needed more time to develop before becoming the full-time starter. I mean, hell, there were even murmurs of signing quarterback Dak Prescott, who at the time had still not signed his new contract with the Cowboys, but there was no movement from the Titans organization, and Will Levis remained the starter. The 2024 season opener was supposed to be a great first game for Will Levis and this new look Titans team. They were lucky enough to play a rookie quarterback week 1 against the overall pretty mediocre Chicago Bears team. And like hell, I think a lot of analysts and just fans thought that the Titans were going to walk away with this game pretty easily and get the win. But I think as we kept watching this game and it just kept getting closer to the end, we kind of realized that that wasn't what was going to happen with this Titans team. Levis and the Titans started the game out hot and opened up a 17-0 lead over the Bears by the second quarter. The first half performance had a lot of Titans fans feeling confident in the fact that maybe he had fixed their issues just from a year ago. Unfortunately for them though, that's where the smooth sailing ends. And pretty much the Titans offense couldn't get the ball moving anymore for the rest of that game. After a Titans fumble that led to a Bears field goal in the fourth quarter, Tennessee found themselves up by just 1 point with a score of 17-16 with just 10 minutes left in the game. And I mean, with the game on the line, Levis threw a pick 6 to give the Bears the game-winning touchdown. What made the play even worse was Levis's reaction, which quickly went viral on social media. Videos and photos of his reaction quickly started circulating on platforms like Instagram and Twitter, and just like that, Levis and the Titans became the laughingstock of the NFL. Levis finished the game with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, and most importantly, 1 loss. Despite the embarrassing game and admitting that he made a boneheaded play on the fourth quarter interception, Levis stated that he thinks he is still a quote-unquote good quarterback in this league. And if Levis wanted absolutely anybody to believe that statement, he was going to have to make a huge statement in week 2. And well, let's just say that didn't happen. Week 2 was the Titans home opener where they hosted Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. The Jets were also coming off of a week 1 loss after getting dismantled by the Niners, so both teams were hungry for the first win of the 2024 season. And I think after throwing for under 130 yards and 2 interceptions in week 1, including the one that went viral and cost the Titans the game, I think it's safe to say that things could only get better, right? But Will Levis, being the amazing player that he is, managed to still make huge mistakes that would just cost the Titans the game again. Levis had some crucial turnovers against the Jets, almost just as bad as the pick 6 thrown against the Bears. Levis lost an inexplicable fumble in the red zone against the New York Jets after throwing the ball backwards once he started to feel some pressure from the defense. Tennessee was leading 7-0 and was threatening a 2-possession lead at the time of Levis's unfortunate fumble and completely shifted the momentum of the entire game. The Jets ended up cruising to a 24-17 win in Tennessee, and to make matters even worse, Levis's bad play resulted in some crazy frustration from his teammates and coaches. One of the most popular clips of frustration from their week 2 game came from Tennessee's head coach Brian Callahan, whose reaction to Levis's terrible turnover was broadcasted on national television. And I think, as you guys can see from the video, it's pretty clear to see what he is saying if you're good at reading lips, what he said to Will Levis. It didn't get much better after the game too, as Will's coach continued to bash him in the post-game press conference, saying that he was upset and that the play from Levis was just dumb. Callahan also stated it was the same exact thing he did last week, and he cost us points in the red zone. And I mean, after just 2 weeks of the 2024 NFL season, not only were fans upset with Will Levis, but his coaching staff and his teammates were mad at him as well. And honestly, I mean, the dude's confidence had to be in the garbage after what his coaches, were saying about him in press conferences to the media. Like, that's crazy for Callahan to go in front of everybody and say about his starting quarterback. I mean, honestly, if his play did not improve quickly, then it was really going to start raising some questions of if he should even start, and that he just needs to improve immediately if he wants to remain the starter. And I mean, as the Titans geared up for their week 3 matchup with the Packers, all eyes were on Levis, who found himself under immense pressure following the 2 disheartening losses. After a promising start in week 1 that quickly developed into a viral nightmare, Levis followed it up with an even more troubling performance against the Jets. With turnovers haunting him and frustration rising, the young quarterback looked to be running out of time and was in need of a miracle win to save his reputation. But of course, as we know now, none of that happened. The Titans got absolutely crushed, failing to protect their home field for the 2nd consecutive week. After a promising drive in the first quarter where Will Levis did throw a passing touchdown, tying the game at 7-7, everything started to fall apart and Tennessee was down 20-7 at halftime. Levis did end up having his first 250-yard passing game of the season, but it came with a side of 2 interceptions and a 16-point loss. Through 3 weeks, Levis has the most turnovers out of any player in the entire league, with 8 total turnovers, 5 being interceptions, 3 being fumbles, which is also the most turnovers committed by a quarterback over that time span in the past 3 years. Now, of course, we do know that week 4 has already happened, so I'm sure those stats have been updated, but right now, as of that, all I had was week 3. But I mean, with those stats just alone, this This means that Will Levis's start to the 2024 season is historically bad. And the one thing that made matters even worse for the Titans organization, just really Titans fans in general, was that their week 3 loss came at the hands of Malik Willis, who they traded away because they thought he wasn't a good quarterback. And I mean, this statistic that was posted too is just absolutely depressing, showing that Malik Willis threw and ran for a touchdown against his former team just 27 days after being traded by them, which is the shortest duration for a player to do so all time. Previously, Red Dunn of the Chicago Cardinals threw and ran for a touchdown against the Milwaukee Badgers in October of 1925 after being traded by them 34 days earlier. So I mean, honestly, after those 3 terrible performances in the first 3 weeks of the season, that honestly had just really loyal Titans fans questioning their fanhood and really just put Will Levis on the hot seat. Like, that dude has to start performing now if he wants to maintain a job in the NFL. Like, I mean, he is performing so bad right now that just everybody is calling for his head and wants him to be benched, or if he isn't benched, at least after this season, to move on from him. Callahan has obviously shown his frustration about the young quarterback's play and shared his thoughts plain and simple throughout press conferences, but it doesn't seem like he wants to give up just yet. Callahan himself is also taking accountability for some of the bad plays, as he stated that he believes that it's not just Levis, but the entire team around Levis needs to play better, and even went as far as saying that he needs to do a better job of coaching. With that being said though, I mean, honestly, if Will Levis can't find a way to at least turn it around, maybe win, I'd say like 2 or 3 games along the way in the next 5, I mean, being at like 1-6 would be insane. If they get to that point too, I think that they just sit Will Levis and move on from him. I mean, like, it wouldn't be a huge surprise if Callahan and the Titans don't win a few with Will Levis and they just are like, sit down, buddy, we're moving on from you. But really, who knows? I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I mean, even the media has already begun searching for replacements on their own, including an article Sports Illustrated dropped just 24 hours after the Titans' week 3 loss to the Packers, titled 3 Future Replacements for Will Levis. The piece does mention players like Sam Darnold, who is set to be a free agent next offseason, and even, I mean, somehow if they land Quinn Ewers or Shadir Sanders, 2 college quarterbacks who should be available in the 2025 draft. Regardless of whether or not the Titans organization has already started thinking about a replacement, one thing is certain. To this point, the Will Levis project has been an absolute failure. Any weapons they have tried to surround him with, or any coaching staff they've brought in to help develop him as a player, has fallen incredibly short, and it's looking like it's about time to pull the plug completely on this project. But I want to know what you guys think. How good do you think Will Levis is? Just how good do you think the Titans are in general? For me personally, I hate to say it, but honestly, that's kind of where careers seeming to go to die. I mean, it's almost like the Bears were at one point, where you just would send a quarterback there and their career was just done. That's how it seems for Tennessee. Like Tony Pollard, we all saw the clip of him and his receding hairline. DeAndre Hopkins has fallen off a cliff. I mean, there's just a lot of guys that are starting to fall off a cliff, and they just go to Tennessee and their careers just go like completely down the drain. So let me know what you guys think about Tennessee. Are they going to bounce back and become a playoff team? Are they even going to be contenders in that tough AFC South? I mean, surprisingly, as crazy as it sounds, the Jags are worse than the Titans right now, as crazy as that sounds. And they have a multi-million-dollar contract that they just gave to what's-his-face, Trevor Lawrence. So that's a whole nother video that we have to approach, because that's wild that Trevor Lawrence is making that much to be 0-4. So we'll talk about that on a different day. But let me know what you guys think below about Will Levis and the Titans. As always, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. And if you guys can, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe as we push to 50K this year. Appreciate all you guys. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one.